My name is Cory France, and I am a dual degree master's student in Goucher's Cultural Sustainability and Historic Preservation programs. So I have always been a high achieving individual, to say the least. I'm super ambitious and super determined. I like to get my gut involved in decisions that I make. I don't think too deeply about anything. I just trust my intuition. And I had already had a master's degree and a bachelor's degree in communications. I had lived in DC for a number of years, and I considered it my second home. And I needed a change. I was really passionate about issues concerning communities on the margins, communities that are threatened around cultures that are threatened around the globe, and really thinking through ways to really advocate and fight for those communities. How do we keep these communities alive? And so I began to do a little soul searching and a little digging to see if there were programs that really explored the issues that I cared about concerning cultural equity, concerning social justice, concerning the changes that are impacting communities on the margins. And I discovered Goucher's cultural sustainability program. I had also had a number of years of experience working as a narrative strategist at a nonprofit organization that was really focused on facilitating experiences that got people out of their bodies and into this imaginative space where they were exploring solutions for some of the world's biggest challenges. And so it felt like a great fit. Many of the faculty that I had discovered on Goucher's website were actively working in the field, and they were working with communities that I'd learned about or I was curious about or were dealing with some of these same challenges. And it was important to me that I had a community of professionals and real people that were doing real meaningful work, as I thought that was the best place to learn, or the best way to learn. And so I just went with it. In fact, when I was exploring the program, I kind of wrote this personal manifesto, this like love story to my community and to the younger version of myself. And so at that point, I knew I needed to just go with it. And I actually received a phone call as opposed to, feeling like a number. There were a number of other institutions that I had actually explored, and I felt like they were just pushing papers and I was just another number. And I didn't want to feel like a number. I wanted to feel like a whole person. And when I got into the program, I received my notification through a phone call. And so there's nothing more personal, nothing that would have made me feel more alive and more affirmed than that. Oh my goodness, this program, one of the special things about this program is that it is, there's a very tight knit, close community of individuals from all walks of life, from all across the world, even from various sectors, and who value the same things, who value connection and community and well-being. And I guess one of the most defining features is that we don't feel overwhelmed by being in large lecture style environments. Being that this is a low residency program, a lot of the work is done, from wherever we are in the world. And in my small corner in Columbia, South Carolina, I still manage to feel um, like I am connected to a part of something bigger than myself. And um, yeah, it's just the class sizes are very, very intimate. It almost feels like taking a walk in the park or sitting at the dinner table with your loved ones, talking about, something that happened last week or earlier in your day. It's very casual, very familiar. It feels like home, honestly. Well, one of the interesting things about being a dual degree student is that I get the great privilege of being able to access two very fully loving and earnest communities of professionals who are all committed to the same types of work. We're all committed and dedicated to people, and ensuring that people feel seen and represented and that they aren't lost in the sort of sweeping changes that happen in life. So I have done everything from field work and cultural documentation to, surveying buildings and learning how to read buildings and things that exist in our built environment that we may not acknowledge in sort of our normal, usual day to day. I've been able to do really meaningful work with communities back even in my hometown that were struggling to sort of advocate for themselves. And so I've been able to apply a lot of the principles, a lot of the learnings, the findings in our coursework to real life experiences. And that was the best way for me to sort of learn and really become the type of cultural worker or visionary that I see myself. It's already begun to benefit me in the future. Almost immediately in every course that I've taken, I've applied, sort of the assignments or the opportunities that were available in those environments. I've applied it directly to real time situations that I was immediately connected to, that I had access to. So once you get started in this program, you are already that person that you saw yourself becoming. And that was one of the things that I think is the biggest sort of takeaway from my experience, is that you're not actually looking to fill a sort of, you're not becoming a role within an institution. You're a full person that already is doing this. And I think these programs really help you see that in yourself, believe enough in yourself and the work that you're doing. And that's very important to me. Well, I've always been very, very passionate about young people and young Black people from the South. I mean, I'm in my small corner again in South Carolina. And I feel like being in this program has made me a better facilitator of experiences that could transform or serve as sort of a resource, a direct resource to empower such communities. And so, yeah, I'm going to continue to fight for my culture and my people. I'm going to continue to advocate for this work and for this sort of community of care that has been nurtured at Goucher through these programs. There have been multiple times. This program is very challenging. You're balancing real life. I have a partner. I just purchased a home. I experienced COVID, and that has, sort of changed even, workplace dynamics and how I, had been, experiencing life and who I got to connect with. And so all of these things are happening at once during my experience. So I've almost, there have been many times where I wanted to tap out or I wanted to retreat or I panicked and I thought I couldn't do this anymore. But I really appreciated being able to have access to a real community of care. The faculty here really genuinely see you and they fight for you. They want to see you win. They want to see you through this journey. And you never feel like it ends once you have that piece of paper that we all search for that validation. You always feel like there's a continuation. You're just getting started. And I appreciate that sort of current in my life, having this newness, feeling like it never ends, feeling like the journey continues, and that I have the agency and the power to really make a change in the world. Trust your gut, even if you're nervous, even if you're afraid, there's some truth in that. So go with it. Go for it.
For it.
Yeah, literally go for it.